Hi everyone, I'm Von Kevitz, knit and crochet designer for one-of-a-kind makers who dare to be original. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to find me. Hopefully we have some people joining today. Say hi if you are. I'm going to start off with a little prayer to get us going. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this amazing hour that we're going to have together. Please open our hearts and open our minds to new ideas and to be a vessel of your great love and light. And thank you for this opportunity so that we can love and share and support one another in this beautiful life, in this beautiful world that you have gifted us with. Amen. Alrighty, so today's topic, I had this idea for a while, and you guys know I talk a lot about autonomy and being an individual, and of course, you know, my brand being Dare to Be Original, being authentic and showing up for yourself and everything. And I almost changed my topic because I had a really great a mastermind meeting this morning, and I had some light bulbs go off, and I thought I was going to change this topic, but I was like, no, actually that topic will fall perfectly in with this topic today. So I was like, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to keep going with the theme that I wanted to discuss today, and have us chat about it. So I titled it, I had so many different ways of trying to title it, because I'm trying to figure out how do I caption this and have it relevant, but at the same time, the message is very true to everybody. So, because I originally wanted to call it like everybody is a CEO. You know, when I first learned that term, that was when I started my business. I was like, oh, I get to be a boss. I get to be the CEO, like of my own company, of my own ideas. Good morning. Good morning. Sanchel and Dawn Summer. Hi, Lori. Oh, good, you're on. So I, it took me 2 seconds. Dawn Summer, Sarah Wellens. I was like all excited to be like this boss and everything. And I'm like, and then I was like, I am the CEO. I'm like, it wasn't until like probably a month ago did I realize, I'm like, we are all CEOs. We all are, whether we have a business or not, we are all CEOs. And so before I was like to get to talking about that topic, I was like, I better look up CEO and actually see exactly what it means, right? So CEO in the Google dictionary pops up. It says it's a noun. It's a chief executive officer, the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, ultimately responsible for making managerial decisions. So chief executive officer. So it's exactly what I always thought in my head what CEO was, like, you know, so the boss, the big person. And I'm like, and that's what we all are. That's what we all are in our lives. So whether we make money or don't make money, we kind of actually are, because we have to pay bills. So we all have to figure out how to make money one way or another, because on this earth, we cannot survive without money. And so I was like, so we actually all are CEOs. So what does that mean? You know, because we are the CEOs of our lives. We create ourselves. We create ourselves. We are our own brand. We represent who we are and how we show up in our world, to our community, to ourselves, to our loved ones. Like, we're the ones that do all that. We produce our goods. You know, we're the ones that make things for ourselves. We suffer our losses, just like a CEO. You know, the boss, if they make bad decisions, they take a cut. They suffer the losses. We suffer our losses. We fix our mistakes. We reap our rewards. So if we profit and we work hard and we profit, we reap the rewards, and we control our time and we control our outcomes. So I wanted to talk a bit about that. I'm like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a CEO? Like what that has been something that I have been working so hard on. I can't tell you, in the 4 years that I've had this Etsy shop and this online community, the most work I've done. I do take a marketing class. I'm in B school, and that's a yearly class at Marie Forleo. That's one time a year that comes around, and then it's a lifetime program. And so that's for online marketing. So I have a little bit of business. I was in the Conquer Club for 2 years with Natalie McNeil, and that's for business owners, female business owners. And so I have a little bit of a business. I never went to business school or anything. I didn't, I went to, I'm actually a college dropout. I was supposed to be a doctor, but I didn't want to be a doctor. It was always what my parents told me, I had to be a doctor. So I started school in the science field and knew quickly that it wasn't for me. In senior year, we dissected a cat, and we had the skinniest cat alive. Everybody had a fat cat that they were dissecting, and we had the skinniest cat, me and my partner, who was a valedictorian of our class at the time, and we were like, and then it was the final week, and we finally got into the stomach, and there were worms inside that cat. And that's how, and the light bulb went off, of course, and like, that's why this cat was so skinny. He probably, was homeless or something, and had worms, and that's what made him so skinny. So to my partner, who was valedictorian, always wanted to be a pathologist. To her, it was like this light bulb that went off, and she was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to do. Like, this is the light bulb we need. It was the revelation. She had this light bulb that went off, and I had the dead opposite effect. When I saw those worms, I had the dead opposite effect when that light bulb went off, because my light bulb was like, OMG, this is not what I want to do the rest of my life. This is not how I don't want to. This is a homeless cat that I've never even seen alive. I can't imagine looking for problems and in human beings without feeling sympathy, without feeling empathy, without me going crazy over and consuming the hurt that they must be going through, or so finding their problem won't make me feel better. All it will do is make me feel worse, because now I know somebody else who's suffering, and I know, you know what I mean? And I will suffer more. Like, it's just not in my DNA. And I knew quickly then that I was like, okay, I can't be a doctor, but I didn't know how to tell my parents. I just didn't know how to tell my parents, And so I went to school and that path anyways, knowing that I was going to be miserable the rest of my life, and therefore I never finished. Fast forward, here I am. I don't even know how I got on that topic. I don't think I've ever mentioned that story in real life, or at least on camera. And a lot of people are like, why don't you be a pediatrician? I'm like, are you mad? I was like, how can I do? You think I want to find something wrong with an infant? I'm like, I would be rendered catatonic. I would be rendered catatonic. So to everybody in the medical field, like, I always give them so much love and praise, because I just think that the battle lines on that is just, it's astronomical, and the strength that they must carry and endure through that. Like, God made them that way for a reason, and bless them for the work that they do. But I don't even know how we got on this topic, and I need to course correct and come back. Morning, Ellie. So glad you're joining. So, yeah, I really don't know. I'm gonna have to restart. I don't know how to turn back. I don't know how to remember that story. So, you guys, what are you guys working on? Chime in if you guys have any questions. So, we are the CEOs of our lives, and we control our we control what we do, what we say, who we are, what we, you know what I mean? Express how we believe, and we are the ones that take the actions. So So I told you, Rachel Hollis is doing, her and her husband at the Rise Start Today company is doing a challenge for the last 90 days of the year. And let me tell you, it has just been so exciting for me to, I'm like excited at the fact that this is the first time that I'm actually pursuing my dreams and going all in on the last 90 days of the year and giving my last 90 days full on effort that I would if we started the year on our New Year's resolution going, okay, I'm going to be this way, I'm going to be that way. You know, usually I wait till January to be my best self, to pursue my best version, you know, because then I slum the last 3 months because I'm like, oh, it's the holidays, starting with Halloween, starting and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas. I'm like so busy, so many things to do. Let's like not worry about anything and just go with it. And then I'll pursue my best version in January. I'll do my New Year's resolution then. And that's been the way how I ran my life. And this is the first time where I'm actually like, I'm gonna go so hard on my routines and rituals, and the challenge is this 5 to Thrive, where you drink half of your body weight in ounces. So drink water, so we hydrate and clean out our body. So drink a lot of water and wake up 1 hour earlier than anybody else in your life that's gonna suck energy out of your life. So basically, if you have kids, wake up an hour early before them. If you have a husband, partner, wake up an hour early before them. And the point of that is so that you have 1 hour of quiet time for yourself to do whatever you want to do. And that for me, I'm incorporating that with working out. It's been challenging this first week of trying to do that, but that is the goal. I mean, I could work out on my quiet hour time in the morning before I shower and get ready for work, or I can try to fit it in the afternoon, and that just doesn't seem possible because I love spending my evenings with John. So I've incorporated the workout into my morning routine with that hour early. So drink your drink your water, work out for 30 minutes, move your body, and then what's the third one? Get up an hour earlier for yourself to do whatever you need to do. Prayer, read, have breakfast, have a slow cup of coffee, do whatever you need to do for your hour just to be ready and to show up for yourself, to love on yourself that hour, right? Because if you don't have an hour for yourself in your life, then you don't have a life. If you can't put out 1 hour in a day to, for yourself, then you don't have a life, because the rest of those go to other people, right? And then what is the fourth one? Oh, give up one category of food. And we all know, going to listen, can't talk. Okay, cool. Ellen, I just realized what Ellie had wrote. Going to give up one category of food is the fourth challenge. And that is, and I'm giving up cream and sugar. So that's how I knew to get rid of coffee. And I've been doing that for 2 or 3 weeks now. So I'm full on board, and I'm giving up ice cream all the way through the end of the year. And the reason why is because I got carried away in the summer with ice cream. So I'm trying to cut that addiction. I'm trying to cut my sugar addiction. I'm trying to cut my dairy addiction. And so that's tough. So I'm working on the cream and sugar in this month. And I can keep it on for all 3 months, who knows. But give up one category of food. And then the fifth one is gratitude. Write down 5 gratitudes a day. And in my bullet journal, I write down every day, I write my 10 goals, 10 big dreams that I want happening within 10 years, like 10 huge dreams, and then 5 gratitude. The point of the gratitude is to celebrate the small things. It's not about writing down your gratitude. I used to think that it was about writing down and it's hoaxy and all that. And I never got it until I practiced it. And the difference and the point of the gratitude is to not like write down the good things in your life, but it is so that you spend your day looking for things. You spend your days looking for the positive, looking for the good things, so that when you're ready to write in your journal for the day, you'll have something to write. Like, and then, so if you, because you need to come up with 5 things that you're grateful for, right? So therefore you spend your day, I find my day spending looking for things that I'm grateful for, like something small, like it's beautiful sunny today. I'm grateful for that. I celebrate every morning that I can get up at 5 a.m. because I don't always, some days I'm like, oh, I need to go back to sleep. I need more sleep. So, because I value my sleep too. So it's a paradoxical world where I value my sleep and I want to get up early and start my day early and show up for myself. So any day that I can positively get up at 5 a.m., I'm grateful for that I didn't oversleep on the alarm. And then there are days where I go back to sleep and give myself that extra hour. And then I'm grateful for that. I got an extra hour of sleep. So those are the things that, like, that's what gratitude is celebrating the small wins, the small stuff in your life, And so when you do that, those 5 things, if I can successfully accomplish these 5 things these next 3 months, if you do something for 21 days, they say it becomes a habit, right? If you do something for 90 days, you're a changed woman. You're a changed person. That's a totally different being. And wouldn't it be amazing if you start off the year in this brand new, beautiful version of yourself that is showing up for yourself in the best way possible? And that is the goal, and that's the point of the last 90-day challenge. So I'm doing it, and a coworker of mine is doing it, and we absolutely love it because we're holding each other accountable. So if you guys want to look into that, you can join that group. It's all free. Everything is free. You don't need to buy their journal. And I said, and I'm doing this bullet journal. You guys, a couple weeks ago, I did my a video about bullet journaling, and I absolutely love it. Ellie, did you get your book yet? I finished the book twice. I absolutely love bullet journaling. And I knew it was the answer for me years ago when I was so overwhelmed with all of the things. But it didn't work because I was trying to find other people's templates. But this year I finally learned exactly what I needed to do to make it my own. And now, like, it has become it is literally my brain hard drive. I back everything up in here. I solve problems in here. I write my dreams and goals on here. I write my to-do list on here. I review it every day. And when I review it every day, and these dreams and goals of mine are here, the things I'm grateful for are constantly in front of my view, within my radar, I make better decisions. I'm more at peace. I'm less anxious. I plan better. I resist bad temptations better through it. You know what I mean? I don't get overwhelmed when I feel like there's a problem. I just work the problem out. When I have a thought, I write it down so I don't forget it. Like, it's just, oh my God, this bullet journal is just like a miracle. And it's been something I've been missing for a very long time, especially now that I've gotten older. Like, my hard drive, my brain, I used to do everything in my head. I can't do that anymore. I'm 41 years old. I can't do that anymore. Between work and life and pursuing a side business, the model just said I had to turn on heat. Is your heat on yet in October? My husband was hoping to go through the whole month without it, but we've never been successful, and our heat went on last night. Heat was on last night. So I'm going to show her some love a little bit. So that's the topic that I wanted to chat with you guys about. You guys have any questions, anything you guys are working on? I'd love to hear what you guys are pursuing this week, So in my mastermind, a very interesting topic came up where her husband or partner is not supportive of her dream right now. Like, and it's very hard. It could be, this topic is just about starting a new business, but even if it's not that, even if it's working Do you feel vulnerable due to writing honestly in your journal? I used to. I used to. A long time. This is why I never kept a journal. I never did that. I used to, because I used to um, feel like somebody was going to read it. You know what I mean? And I was going to be exposed, and I was going to be vulnerable. And then I realized, I'm like, this is for me. This is for me and for my eyes only. There's no judgment in this because it's mine. It's me. And I'm realizing that the more if someone wants to read your thoughts, like if like, like in TV, when you're like, oh, I read my sister's diary, and and I got to know all of her inner secrets, that is such a minute fear in life. The chances of anybody else worrying about what's going on in your book is slim to none. But it is one of our biggest fears, is that somebody will see our big secret, right? And we're going to be exposed. I can have this laying around all day long. My husband, who loves me immensely, lives, and he's never opened this book. He has no desire to open it. So, because you want to know what the funny thing is about life, and you've learned this. I mean, they've quoted a billion times. When you're in your, what is it? When you're in your teens, like 20 below, you think that everybody is judging you, right? You think that you are the center of their world. Like, you think everybody is, like, you are the center of your world. You think everybody is judging you and making fun of you and watching your every move. And then you find out in your 30s and 40s that no, nobody's paying attention to you at all. Like, they're busy worrying about themselves. They've never cared about you. And then in your 60s, you realize nobody ever paid attention. They were always busy worrying about themselves. You know what I mean? So no, I've gotten over that vulnerable thing. Like, if somebody could get into here and decipher what this is going on in here, if they can figure out what the heck is going on, they're good to them, because I'm working on it. So if I can barely get through what's in here, they can't. She's absolutely gorgeous. Who's absolutely gorgeous? Who are we talking about? So I oh, you're too sweet. Can I tell you, you are beautiful? Thank you so much. That's so funny, because there's not one of the demons. I'm like, I'm not good enough to be on camera. I just don't care anymore. I used to be so terrified. I was just looking back at my old video that I loved going live on Instagram, because there's a filter called subtle that I was like, oh my God, I wish YouTube had this filter, because I would be so beautiful on YouTube if I had this subtle filter like I have on Instagram. And I used to not want to do these YouTube videos because it wasn't on Instagram. I used to want to only do it on Instagram because I had that filter. I needed that filter to be camera ready. Isn't that so funny? And the fact that you guys are paying all these compliments me on this YouTube is just goes to show you what lies that I tell myself, right? So and just a caveat of that, somebody had said that, because they knew that I was giving up dairy. I'm like, I had no idea how badly addicted I was to dairy. And I used to grow up with acne. I had the worst skin. Like, I had to wear makeup for the longest time. And then finally one day I just stopped. And then when I finally stopped, my skin cleared up. Isn't that funny, the paradoxical world? But when I eat dairy, I will break out. And so my body knows a lot faster than my taste buds know about, like, dairy makes me break out, which I never knew. But I always knew I was lactose intolerant, so go figure. That dog is annoying the living lights out of me. I just let him out. He's going to cry the entire time, but I'm not giving in, because every time I let him out, he's digging, because he's fighting with the squirrels. The squirrels are burying their nuts, and he wants to go out and dig them up on them, so they won't have their winter stash by the time Indy's done. And we don't want to promote that. So we're just going to sit and listen through this crying of his. And I can't even spray him with water because he's not crying here. He's crying at the doorway in the kitchen. So I have no reach for him. Independence. Stop it. We'll see how long that works. If you write things down, they become real. Yes, they absolutely do, Lori. Then there's a measure of success or failure. Why do we fear failure and mistakes, sometimes to a point of paralyzation? Oh my gosh. We're, Ellie and I were just talking about this the other day on Instagram, where she's like, she's starting to dye yarn. You know, Ellie is the beautiful one with Mary, and I got my beautiful wool from her, and she's dyeing her yarn. So I don't know if that's a new thing that she's doing or an old thing that she's doing, but her in her feed, it's like these gorgeous it's Senko Farms. Go follow her on Instagram. She's got these gorgeous, beautiful dyed yarns that she's experimenting with, and she's got so many likes, right? And then Ellie like DM'd me and said, I have so many likes on these, but yet I'm so terrified to sell them. And she's like, and she's like, what is that? And she knows it's illogical. She knows it's illogical. She knows the fear is illogical. Just like I know my fears are illogical, but we still feel them, right? All of our fears are illogical, but we still feel them, and they paralyze us. They paralyze us. That's how the enemy works, by the way. But I said to her, I was like, why do you think that I come on here for an hour every Saturday talking about this topic? You know what I mean? Working and not just talking about it like I'm on my soapbox talking about it so that you guys can do. I'm talking about it because it's what I go through. I'm in the fight. I'm in the battle lines with you. I fight it every day with you. You know what I mean? I'm not here because I got it all figured out. No, I'm here because I'm going through it, and I'm just sharing it because I know that if I'm going through it, I know other people are going through it. And so I feel like it's my responsibility to share it. Not to mention, there's a strength in numbers. There's a camaraderie to it. So I feel like if I'm being vulnerable, other people will share their vulnerabilities with me, and then we will all know that we are not all perfect and everything is not all great. And then we won't feel so alone, because that's the lie. The lie is that we suffer and we're on our own. Nobody else is, because everybody else is living the perfect life. We are the only ones suffering. That's the lie. And then we feel alone, and then we feel scared, and we don't want to share. And then we don't want to, and when we don't share, we don't talk about it. When you don't address it, you get stuck in it. You stay stuck in it. So that's why I'm like, I just devoted this channel to Dare to Be Original, to go through all the fears, to debunk all that so that we don't stay paralyzed. When I suffered from my psoriasis, I was so terrified to let everybody know that I had a skin disorder. I was so terrified to let everybody know that I was flawed, and I would thought that everybody would be like I was so ashamed of it. I was so ashamed of it. And I was so scared to let people know. So I would just refer to me as being sick until it consumed my entire body, and it felt like I had it all over my body, from scalp all the way down to my legs, all the way, like all of my body. So painful. Every time I would shower, every time I would dry up, it would be like ants crawling all over me. And then whenever I would wet it, it would feel like acid is being poured on me. Painful. So painful. And nobody knew I was going through it. Nobody knew, only John. And I told my family after like 2 years of suffering. I finally told my family, but then I downplayed it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's an immune system. It's an autoimmune disease, but it's okay. It's not that bad. But I was suffering. I was missing work. It was just horrible. And I was so ashamed of it, until one day I finally was like, I haven't been creating for a year. I stopped in YouTube, I stopped Instagram, I stopped everything. Once in a while I would post something, once in a while I would comment, but it was such a miserable time for me. I was in my personal jail cell that I had the door, remember that invisible door that's wide open that I feel like is shut on me? And that I finally woke up and said, you've got to do something. This cannot be your life. We cannot continue like this. And then I decided to do the Humira and take these bi-weekly shots, and that would shut down my immune system so that I can fix this other thing that I was going through. And I was like, and that took a huge decision because I was terrified of injecting myself with a needle, and then I was terrified to walk around with a shut down immune system so that this medicine could work on another problem, right? Like I never thought the answer would be solving a problem for another problem. That's why I'm on such a journey to eat better, because I know that the issue is my stomach, even though doctors won't tell you that that's what it is. Everything happens. All of our immunity is within our stomach. That's how God created us. He created us that way. When we mess with that system, which is our toxic food, we are poisoning our body slowly. So even though I thought I was a good human being by not smoking, doing drugs, or drinking, I was poisoning myself with food that was not nutritious. Neither here nor there. So when I finally decided to get back on that, I did a video on I'm back and thriving, and you'll see that video. And that was the first time I ever mentioned that what my disease was and how scared I was. And I remember my model, like I remember doing that hard video, like I have to do this video, I have to do this video. And I remember everybody saying, you don't have to do it. You don't have to be 100. You don't have to be that open about yourself. If you're feeling vulnerable, you don't have to. But I knew that I did. And the reason why is because I knew the enemy was using that against me. He was using that fear of me keeping that secret in, and that shame that I had for having a skin disease. He was using that and crippling me with it. He was paralyzing me with it. You know what I mean? Yes, absolutely, Sancho. I absolutely agree with you. And he was paralyzing me with. So me making that video and outing myself in that way, it wasn't about me like telling you guys what I was going through. It was just by me facing it and addressing it and like dealing with it head on and being public about it, because I didn't want that to be the reason why I was staying paralyzed. You know what I mean? And that was why I did the video. That was why I had to do that video, because I didn't want that to be my excuse forever to stay paralyzed. And so I made the video. And the moment I made the video, I had some nice feedbacks, and I had some, for the longest time, like I told you, what that psoriasis did was one of the things that was going on was my nails were all bumpy and it looked horrible. Like, so I would always have to paint my nails, which meant more chemicals and more toxic elements into my skin, paint my nails so I can cover my nails so I could do the video tutorials through all of those doll videos. If you saw my earlier feeds of how I teach tutorials, my nails was always painted because I was trying to cover up my nails. And it took me forever. Every single time I would make those videos, I would be in fear and terrified that somebody was going to see the bump, somebody was going to make a comment on my nails, and they were just going to be so grossed out and disgusted by me. They're never going to come back to the feed. They're just never once did anybody on my over 100 videos ever mention anything about my nails. Never once. But yet it kept me from making videos over and over and over and over and over again. It is insane how our fears will paralyze us and debilitate us, and that's why I'm like, I've just devoted my entire time to showing people, when you see fear, that is the enemy putting something on you, that you in front of you, blocking you from pursuing. What are you doing, Indy? I'm not letting you out. You've already been out. Stop it. Stop being a menace to society. Yes, and not letting other people talk you out of what you want. Know what works for you. You are a brat. Say hi. Independence. This is the bane of my existence, guys. This is the one. He's the one. Indy. You're not gonna charm me. Get out of here. I'm not letting you out. Stop it. All right, guys. So I love that last line. Yes, not letting other people talk you out of it. So I wanted to talk quickly about it. So my mastermind had a thing where her partner, her hubby, her anybody close to you if they're not supporting you in your dream, um, I went through that in the beginning with John and I went through that in the beginning. He wasn't the most supportive person, and about what I was doing, well, because it was partly my fault, because when I started uh, the VK and selling online, I was making like 6 hours a day. I was neglecting all my duties. I was neglecting everything. Everything was all on making. I was either making, and if I wasn't making, I was on my phone, I was on my computer communicating with the online community, with the Dare to Be Original Facebook group, with, with the Handmade Creative Mastermind. Like, I was on all that time. But I knew that I couldn't give up. And there were so many times we've had so many fights, and we're like, I have to choose one or the other. Do I choose my dreams or do I choose my marriage? Like, I speak in hindsight, but during the time, it was a paralyzing time. It was a hard time. It was a hard and slow time to go through, but I got over it. And my best advice for my new friend here about that is, I wanted to tell her, I'm like, the only way you can get the love and support from your loved ones the way you want to be loved and supported for pursuing your dreams is by you loving and supporting your dreams, is by you showing up for yourself in the best way possible, so that when you love on yourself and your dreams, it can only show other people what that looks like, and then therefore they will love and support your dreams as well. Does that make sense? Am I making sense on that? Um, so how I got through it with John was that I continued, but I scaled back. Like, I became logical of my thing. Of course, I made time for him. I put a cap limit on my creative time, and then I put a cap limit on my phone time, on my social media time. Because he was right. I couldn't, like, that can't be my life. It's either that my life or my marriage. You know what I mean? And so I had to obviously compromise and say, okay, yeah, you're right. I can't breathe 24 hours into the shop, and I can't breathe 24 hours into this online community, right? So I found a balance, and then I learned to work smarter. I showed up for myself. I figured things out. I read a lot of books. I learned to figure things out, and I got smarter about how to solve my problems so that it wouldn't take me so long to solve my problems online about the shop and everything. Because that's what I would either be watching webinars, learning about things, and everything would just take so much time. And I knew time was so limited, right? I only have so much in a few days, and I only have so much to spend with my husband, so much to spend on my side biz, so much to spend at work. Like, I was really divided. So I learned to get smarter on that, and I started showing up for myself. And the one time that he finally, I'll tell you, the breaking point that made it real was, so years of building this community. And then one day I was like, I want to create a handmade creative mastermind. And that was like in 2017. And I ended up going on Facebook Live into the Facebook group and said, I want to create a community, and I want, and for you to do it, to let me know that you're committed for the year. It's just going to be $100. It's thousands of dollars to join any mastermind. And I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? And the $100 was just enough so that I knew it was going to hurt, like, enough investment for somebody to take it seriously and show up for themselves. Because if I'm going to show up for you all in for the year, then I want you to show up for yourself all in for the year. And that 100 was that was my way of saying, okay, I'm serious. So by the end of that live webinar, I had 13 people sign up. 13 people signed up, said $100, I'm in, without any, I didn't even know I was selling that day. But when my husband saw that, he was like, holy cow. He realized all the work that I had been doing, the community building, the YouTube channel for helping people for free, all the social media with all the quotes trying to motivate people. He realized, like, wow, all that work she was doing, it paid off. There was something at the end of that, and it clicked. And since then, he has been my number one fan. Since then, he has been my number one fan because he knew what I was doing was bigger than me. My goal and my dreams was bigger than me, bigger than him, bigger than us, bigger than, because I was pursuing a mission that I think God put me on this earth to do. You know what I mean? And that's my big why. And so I was telling my friend, I'm like, this is why our why is so important, because they always say, what is your why? You know, and you're like, oh, you know, for this reason, for that reason. I'm like, it has to be so important, because the reason why is because you will face adversity. You will face adversity in all kinds of ways, be it yourself, whether you want to get up and, you know what I mean, pursue your dream and be your best version. Ourself is our biggest adversity. Our fight with ourselves is our biggest adversity, because we choose. We're the ones. We're not the victims. We choose. If something happens to us, it's because we allowed it. You know. Period. I'm a firm believer in that. And we have the choice. So we are our biggest adversary. And then other people we can't control, but what we can control is what we do. I think in the last Monday morning motivation, I think Amara, Gracefully Amara, she had asked, like, how do you react? Like, how do you deal with people that don't like you, and or something, that aren't supportive of you? That I think it was her friend that she thought was supporting her, and then she found out that her friend was not supporting her. She was not. And she's like, how do you deal with that? And I said, I don't deal with people who aren't supportive. I have to spend my energy in showing my best self. If I support myself, if I show up for myself, if I show up and be the best version of myself, be the person that I want to be, work very, very hard at being the person I want to be. And that's the point of this topic, is that we are the CEOs of our lives. We are the chief executive officer of our lives. We make full decisions of how we want to be, of how we want to show up, of how we want to live our lives. We choose all that. The outcome is not within our world. Other people's opinions of us is not our business. It's not our business. Your opinion of me is not my business. My opinion of me is my business. You know what I mean? Is any of this making sense? Am I ranting on? Because I got him in my ear. So yeah, so that's that. Do you guys want to talk about anything else? Do you guys have any questions? So this week what am I doing? Oh, this week I haven't posted on Instagram in 2 weeks, and I want to be more mindful of that. So the next 30 days that I'm actually working on is pursuing my health. I want to be really strong and healthy the rest of this year, and that is making good food decisions, working out, making sure that I put it in my schedule and get up. And so health is my number one goal. But I want to be more mindful of my social media presence. So I'm gonna this weekend hopefully have content. I want to come up with content on Instagram. And what I post on Instagram goes on to the rest of my social media. So it's the same post. I use an app called If This and That, IFTTT. And whatever I post on Instagram, it shows up on Pinterest, it shows up on Facebook, it shows up on Twitter. But I do everything on Instagram. And so I want to plan out my content for the month and get it all ready to go. I use Planoly, PALOLOY, is that it? Planoly? You guys look it up. And it's a scheduler, and it's free. There's the paid program and there's a free. I just use the free. The free is good enough for me to do what I needed to do, and it just lets you put all your pictures in. You could adjust it, and then you could enter all the captions in there. You could put all the hashtags in there, and the only thing it doesn't do is post for you. So what it does is you schedule it when you want to do, and the alarm goes off and tells you post now, and the post is ready for you to do, and it copies and pastes it onto you. So it's really, really cool, so that you can get your content ahead of time. So I want to do that this month, because I'm realizing that if I don't do that, for 2 weeks now, you haven't heard from me on Instagram, post-wise. And then once in a while, I'll jump on stories. And I want to do that a little bit more, because I want to be a little bit more open on this journey, since I'm pursuing this health quest. But let me go back and see your comments. So, stomach. What you mean? Yes, not letting other people talk you out of what works for you. Exactly. Fear does make us a prisoner of our minds. Amen. Yes, it does. Fear does that. What else? I do still have to finish editing Mary, and I have to be very conscious of that. I'm not sure how I want to word it. Oh, you know what? Another great thing is I met somebody at work. She's a new assistant at work, and I was training her. So I had spent a week or two with her, and she had asked me on Thursday, she's like, because I always roll into work late. I don't really have a set schedule. It's supposed to be 8 to 4, but sometimes I'll go in 8:30 to 4:30, 9 to 5. Rarely is it 8 to 4, but I want to be that way, because the earlier I get in, the earlier I can get out. But she had asked me, what time do you wake up in the morning? And I said 5 a.m. And she's like, what the heck do you do? She's like, you don't even have kids or anything. She's like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do my morning routine. I work out. I do, work on my journal. I read the Bible. I do different things. You guys, now he's recruiting his big brother to get involved. And then I told her about what I do and the internet. I've never spoken. I don't speak about my online world to my in-person world. I'm very shy about that. I still get that way. I'm still like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Yeah, I have, there's a community. I have a few friends, that we're very close to. Like I get very shy about that stuff, so I don't really speak about it in person. But I was explaining it to her, and I told her it was like the journey that I was on when I first got on here. I was selling my stuff online, and then I was meeting more makers, and more makers were going through stuff and realizing that so many women were dealing with fear, and they were afraid to learn a new pattern. They were afraid to sell their stuff online. They were afraid to start something new. They had this dream of having their own shop, but they were so afraid. And so fear just became like this big topic, right? And I was like, that's when I realized, I'm like, I wanted to help people go through that and conquer through that and live through it and pursue it, wholeheartedly. And I said, and I found that to be my passion. And she's like, and that's what I devote my YouTube channel to. And she's like, I get it. She's like, I too have this fear, and I too have a dream that I'm too afraid to even let the dream live out in her head. And I was like, exactly, like everybody you talk to has that. We all have this inner dream of this best life that we want, but yet we're so afraid to go after it or pursue it or even allow it to come to fruition. And it was like, and I said, and that's what I spend my energy on, is working through that and helping people get through that. And they're like, and she's like, oh my God, I'm going to follow your channel, and I'm going to be like, she's like, that's exactly what I need in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, talking to you was exactly what I needed, because it was nice to actually have that conversation and build my confidence up to discuss that with real people in real person, in real time, which is interesting. So it made me feel vulnerable at the time, but it was freeing, so that was a nice That was something I wrote in my gratitude that day because I was like, oh, somebody got it. Somebody got my dream, and that is my dream, is I want to help people face that and go through that, especially in the creative world, especially when we're creative, you know. But all right, guys, I hope we've had a great chat. So I hope you guys like have an awesome week, and I hope you guys go all in the rest of this year in pursuing your best life. And the point of that is if we pursue our best version now, we spend the last 90 days of this year doing that. Imagine in January how much higher. So instead in January of starting, we're going to start on the 20th floor instead of starting in the basement. You know, in January when we're like, okay, I'm going to do this for my New Year's resolution, I'm going to do that. We're already there. We'll be already there, and then we can just pursue even higher. So I challenge you guys to do that same thing, is to show up for yourself these last 3 months of the year and give it your all on pursuing your best version. And God bless, guys. Hope you guys have a great week. And thanks for joining me. And I will chat with you guys next week, Saturday at 9 a.m. All right. Be sure to like and subscribe and share these videos. The YouTube algorithms completely changed. My views and my everything has dropped dramatically. And like everybody is, a lot of people are saying that because YouTube changed their algorithms. So the only way to really get your audience back, because the thing is, they're not even sharing, they're not even letting people that follow me know that I'm even doing anything. They're not doing that anymore. They changed their algorithms completely. So nobody even knows that I'm even active, even though they subscribe to me. So be sure to make sure you hit that notification and share the video and comment and everything, because that helps it. Because then the more people that they see engage with it, then they're like, okay, that's relevant content. So let's share it more. And that's the only way that I think that they're going to help you. So engagement is the best way. So I would love it if you guys commented, liked, and shared, and did all that fun stuff, so that we can get this message across and pursue our best versions. All right, guys, God bless. Bye.